Wait, what's that over there? Oh, it's just a squid. Oh no, she's a kid now!
Now that's comedy.
Oh boy, you sure do love playing Splatoon, don't ya? Well, I guess I gotta give in. Here she is, the newest Phantom Thief. Alrighty, so click randomly on the screen to get the previous part, description, pin, comment, you know the drill by now. Continuing on, after we got a literal queen to join our party, we get some little story rumblings through the SIU director. Sony internet user, Skyrim is underrated, Sans in Undertale.
No complaining.
We saw him, sneakily, taking phone calls to someone, and after defeating the Mafia, he then mentions how he is aware that his boss is unhappy that we are gaining fans by trying to reform society, and that to defeat us, he will try to make it look like we are the causes of those mental shutdown cases, and not that other user in the black mask. And after referring to his boss as future Prime Minister, we cut back to Daddy Sojiro.
Hey, check the ingredients in the fridge. A what now?
Hey, it's me!
It sure is, buddy.
Meow?
And so the whole gang just barge right in, as before we can celebrate another job well done, we, as the Phantom Thieves, who go to school, have to study for exams.
Leave vocabulary and long sentences to me. Please?
Yes, I see.
I see. My ass.
When it comes to you, your Japanese is questionable too.
But while studying, the two goofballs can't resist thinking about food and talk about how we should do another buffet like the first time.
Huh? A buffet?
But Makoto reins in her children to study.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we reach the dreaded high school test. Oh my goodness, I don't even speak Japanese. How can I understand anything in this test? It's all about Japanese history. Why have you forsaken? I got in the top 10.
Nice.
By the way, and then I guess to celebrate exams being over, we go to watch some fireworks.
That's enough.
How could you?
So those are the kinds of girls you like, Ryuji.
Yes, ma'am.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
And after those rainy shenanigans,
Like you need help?
and seeing a girl who will never be in the story again,
No complaining.
we finally jump into the main plot, where it seems that a rival hacker group called Medjed is now calling us out like those YouTube videos that get way more views than anything I ever make. But also, we get this text message from a person called Alibaba, who then says, "Oi, I know you're the Phantom Thieves." Well, that was fast. What do we do, Morgana? They know who we are.
I'm hot.
God damn it, you dirty cat.
Hey, don't forget me.
Alibaba says, however, if we can steal a person's heart for them, they will take care of Medjed for us. So we then tell the others.
Could this just be a prank?
No, that's terrible.
We then decide to finally move our hideout from exposed public walkway to, wait, our home? Gee, thanks for the warning. I didn't even get to clean up first.
Good evening.
Is that a new face I see?
It's nice to meet you. My name
You got a boyfriend?
is something wrong?
Call me boss.
While there, Sojiro tells us that we have a letter addressed to us.
What the hell's going on here?
At the same time, we see, Miss Nijima interrogating Daddy. It seems like she is looking for someone. Back at school, we now get more text from Alibaba saying how they will tell the police who we are if we don't help them out. But like, we need the name of the person to break into their mind, and they tell us that it's Futaba Sakura. But wait a minute, mate, isn't that the same surname as you?
Why do you know about that? I'm going home.
Well, that was suspicious.
Looks like it's a hit.
And later on we see Sei come back again and tell him that he's now lost custody of his daughter if he doesn't help them out, sort of blackmailing him into something about her.
And stay out!
So again with the gang, back on the public walkway. Jeez, they really like doing all this stuff in public, eh?
Not really.
But doubtful. But
Where we then get more text from Alibaba, and we respond that we need to meet Futaba in person to be able to, like, go into their mind. But as soon as that's mentioned, they quickly go, lol, no, it was just a prank, bro, don't worry about it. Okay.
That aside,
The blondies, finally free from the story worries, decide to spend the money we got from selling the gold briefcase on a big fancy sushi dinner, because sushi is a delicacy in Japan.
The best method is to fill yourself on ginger before beginning to eat sushi.
That is my master technique.
you don't need to do that this time. Actually, definitely don't do it, okay?
Did I mention how she's one of my favorite voice actresses?
what's up?
While that's being planned, we cut to Sei and the pleasant boy, who is now her assistant, and that she is getting more and more stressed that the Phantom Thieves still are messing with people's minds, and how this other hacker group just started up again out of nowhere. And I only mention this because you really should keep this in mind, she's getting a lot more angrier and stressed as each day goes on. But we then get the trademark eat food to celebrate destroying a man's mind.
Man, the flounder is out of this world. That texture.
So good.
I don't see any prices listed here.
Fatty tuna?
What rubbish.
And after we leave the restaurant,
Wait, what?
oh look, it's Mr. Sketchy himself, coming in to say how the Phantom Thieves suck and also...
I bet we'd make a great team if we worked together.
What? The hell are you saying?
I'm good.
Oh boy, better not let the fandom see that.
How could you?
And I guess the final straw to push us to do something with Alibaba is that Medjed suddenly announced if we don't reveal who we are to the world, they will orchestrate a huge crash to the Japanese economy. And that's no good. I mean, wait, no, that's great, because anime figure prices would be so cheap to import. So now we all decide that something is suspicious about Big Boss, and to question him on this Futaba, we should take Morgana's food to him as a present, to give us a reason to talk to him randomly out of the blue.
But my fatty tuna!
No complaining.
We arrive and oh, no one's home, but it's starting to rain, and the gate's unlocked. Well, I guess we don't want to get wet, so in we go. And... well...
What are you doing in my house?
I'm Chris Hansen.
Are you two dating?
Yes.
Hold on.
Oh, it's just a joke. I'm not actually dating your sister. I'm dating my teacher.
You what?
I guess this is finally too much for the boss, by which I mean a bunch of teenagers just broke into his house, and he decides to finally tell us the whole dealio. So Futaba was raised by her single mother who really loved working, but she still loved her daughter very much. However, one fateful day, she died, leaving Futaba all alone, who herself for whatever reason blames herself for her mum's death. And Sojiro as a friend decided to take care of her as his own daughter. We apologize for prying and decide to see if Futaba has a palace, and yep, she does. It seems that she was in fact Alibaba in the first place and wanted us to save her from her own personal trauma. I guess we might as well help her out and in turn help Big Boss, so we go over again to get her to let us into her palace, and after a little interrogating, we get the code word is tomb and enter it into the Metaverse app.
And clicky.
You idiot!
Thus, we arrive at Futaba's palace, which in my opinion might be my favorite palace design in the game, up there with another future one. And yes, I know this is a controversial opinion. Oh no, RamZaes loves mementos, he loves pyramids, he loves the older women.
Oh dear.
We get set up outside, which doesn't have much for now, except this, useless slide.
Don't be ridiculous.
So we go inside to see Shadow Futaba, who after reaffirming that she killed her mum, tells us to, lol, get the heck out. We then decide to come back later, and the game cuts to the real Futaba, who is constantly plagued with these voices blaming her for her mother's death. I guess now the game wants you to prepare before going back in, but I'm like, lol no, and head straight in without planning.
Joker! Hey! Answer me!
Hush you, I told you I'm not good at these games.
Sorry, old man.
So we explore the pyramid, which has a bunch of puzzles and trick rooms just like the real Pharaoh's tomb, and also, swimming.
Jeez.
The way it works is you have the main hall stairway, and you move along this till you reach a blocked area. Then you go sideways till you get to a second floor, upon where you solve an actual puzzle that shows a slideshow of the events surrounding the unfortunate event. Then a laser shines through it, unlocking the next door, and you continue on and on. We do this for a while, till we reach a slightly different door that resembles Futaba's actual room. And this could be like with Madarame, as now she needs to open the door physically in front of us in the real world, so it opens here. Plus, while we're at it, her shadow comes in to tell us that we are near the treasure, and that we should give Futaba our calling card to visualize it for us to steal. Gee, you're awfully nice for a shadow, unlike the perv, hair disaster, and fly man.
What?
She then appears in Futaba's mind in the real world, taunting and goading her, as if to question why she's trying to hide herself from the truth, and that if she doesn't accept it, she will kill us in the tomb. I take back what I said about you being nice then. And so we meet Futaba in her room. Well, she hides in the closet. But Anne presses on, saying, "Are you sure you killed her? Your mother would never neglect you after what Boss said. It doesn't add up. And then we need to see you yourself to open that locked door." As we leave, she reads the calling card, and so we head back in again for the boss battle. After these mini enemies in between, which irritated me to no end because there's no save point after them, so you can't battle the boss at full health, and I hate it so much. So we reach the tomb with the treasure inside, but just as we enter, oh look, it's a giant monster with her mother's head. Isn't that fun?
Monster?
So this boss is unique because, I mean, we can barely hit her. We struggle with this for a while blocking her high-rise move, and at the same time, Futaba actually enters the palace herself because we kinda let slip on how to get in, and she manages it after running away from some more dark thoughts. And so after some other, things, Futaba makes it near the top, meeting her shadow, who confronts her with the slideshow and tells her not to hide the memory. Open it up and truly remember what happened. That her mother never hated her, and she almost remembers when she hears the monster scream and rushes to the top. But of course, the monster blasts all this hate that Futaba believed her mother had for her. I guess I should also mention that her mother's work was on cognitive science, the study of cognitions, i.e. the stuff we're doing. Her work was very demanding, and Futaba had believed she hated having a baby taking up her time, but we say no, that isn't true. Sojiro said she was a kind mother to you, and we then see the hallucinations of men in suits telling her all these evil things, including about her mother's death. Her shadow comes in for the final save, saying, "Why do you think your mother died the way she did? All because of a note? But who told you what was on the note? Some men in suits? Would your mother ever say those hurtful things that was on the note? Those men in suits were the ones who manipulated you all along, planting those false memories on you, leading to how you are feeling now." Futaba, finally seeing through the lies, stands up and awakens her persona. UFO. So like, how is she gonna help us? Oh, She made an ink gun. Now why would an ink gun help us? We can use it to shoot down the monster, covering her in ink, thus weighing down the feathers so she's too heavy to fly. Yeah, something like that. So as you'll see later, Futaba takes over Mona's job as the navigator, i.e. the person who tells you when to guard, what weaknesses the enemy has, and so on. She also will randomly drop buffs and stat bonuses to the party in battle. So for now, we can finally attack the monster, defeating it gangster style. And find out, oh wait, like you just entered your own mind? That's a bit bad. Hey, wait, where are you going? Oh, okay, she just left. But now her palace is collapsing. Thus, we escape in Mona. Wait a minute. Did Mona just reveal he has interior leather? Damn, boy, I didn't know you were padded out. Also, yes, he opened his butt and we jumped in. But the point is that we drive away safely.
What a handful.
So after making it back to the real world, we check up on Futaba who died or something. No, I'm kidding. She likes to sleep a lot, so no worries. Now while we wait for that and, for her to stop Medjed doing Medjed things, we have so much free time. Oh my goodness, there's so much things to cover here. Personally, some highlights was that I went on a boat with Yusuke, as he painted other people without their permission, then ordered them around. God damn it, Yusuke, why are artists just so weird? We also have enough money to now buy that fortune stone from earlier, and instead of giving us amazing fortunes into the future, it dissolves, cause it's salt. Yes, we got scammed, but don't worry. Through some hilarious and adorable shenanigans, I'm not kidding when I say she's third best girl,
Please don't blow me off.
we have her as a confidant, while also then cutting to Say, who's like, dude, how are you so lucky? What is your secret? Hey, that's easy. I watched this YouTuber called RamZaes, you might have heard of him.
That's unacceptable. RamZaes.
We also go fishing! Yeah, I'll admit I'd spent a lot of time here.
My fatty tuna!
And I guess out of nowhere, Futaba actually leaves her house for once. Surprising big boss, and she tells us that she will finally take care of old Medjed. So she goes and does that. And on the next day, Medjed's website is hacked, their evil plans to crash the market cancelled, and member details leaked. All done by good old Futaba. And while we go upstairs with our new buddy, we see on the news, well, gee, look at that. It's Mr. Baldy, who is running for Prime Minister.
This politician seems quite promising.
God damn it, he's gonna be Prime Minister, isn't he?
Meanie.
Okay, Futaba, since we don't actually know that much about you, let me ask you a few questions.
Okay,
What do you think of mac and cheese?
secret.
Okay, do you like any cheese products?
I refuse to answer.
Oh boy.
How foolish.
Then I guess to help build our relationship with her, we decide to go to the beach and have the days leading up to it with more time to get to know her with each party member, to try and help her interact with others. And you better believe I'm gonna bait you by not putting the beach episode at the end here.
Okay.
So we go and meet Futaba in her natural habitat. Anyway, how about instead I bring up the old teacher, Miss Kawakami, as now we have leveled up with Fortune Lady, giving us access to a shrine, where, at a cheap price,
No.
we can pray for a higher chance to increase Confidant ranks when we next meet that person. You better believe I speed ran this with Miss Kawakami. So we learn that instead of her sick sister, the real reason she needed the money and she's doing all this maid work was due to a problem at her older school. There she was forced by the principal to convince a student who got low grades to transfer to another school, so to make the school not look bad. But in fact, the student had lost both of their parents and was working 3 part-time jobs to live, so instead she personally tutored him. The principal found out and told her to stop teaching him or resign. Kawakami thus stopped tutoring, and while on the phone telling him that she had to stop teaching him, he was making a delivery in the rain and unfortunately died in a car crash. Then his adopted relatives blamed her for his death and threatened to sue her unless she keeps paying them as an apology. But they kept increasing the payments until she was so overworked she got hospitalized. And then even in hospital, they come to visit, not to cheer her up, but demand more money. And we then learn they, however, were using her money to live the fancy life, and even were using the students' money back then for the same thing. Thus, since he died, they didn't want to give up the fancy living, so they started to hound her for money. They then show up at Shujin Academy and threaten Kawakami that they will reveal to the school what her second job is if she doesn't pay up. And thus, this is where Mementos comes in. As you see, it isn't just some mindless dungeon crawling, and while we do get the occasional request on the fan side to take down a small evil person, sometimes it leads into the Confidant storylines, with us now going there to defeat the relatives, thus making them change their heart. And also I want to mention, Mementos actually seems to be opening up more. The faster the fan site grows and the more requests and popular we get.
What?
And so they stop with the money, and Kawakami finally quits her maid job to fully focus on being a teacher. And hopefully you can see why this was my favorite storyline in a non-party member Confidant. Yes, I know this dude is a fan favorite, but I never actually noticed him till way late in my playthrough. So then, our reward for rank 10 is a special massage. So this is why a lot of people will tell you to go for Kawakami first, you know, if you want to maximize your efficiency in the game, because this allows you to call her at night, removing your exhaustion, meaning you now have another segment in the day to do more activities with other confidants. Yeah, you heard that, Mona. My teacher says I don't have to sleep. And thus we have our first rank 10 confidant, which means you know what this means? I'm going to jail! Also, yes, I baited you. The beach episode will be next time, where we will see.
You shouldn't annoy a girl with an axe!
Trojan, RamZaes, Magnum, Sheik.